Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back after the lunch. I see that not everyone survived the lunch, but I hope they are coming and they will be here soon. So after the networking lunch, it is time for the first panel of the day. And the panel is called Success Story of MyFootprint, SEB, Accelerating Change Through Partnership. And at the end of 2021, SEB presented MyFootprint SEB app, which is totally new and quite revolutionary product in Baltics. And it enables each one of us to see the invisible. So it means to calculate how our lifestyle choices influence CO2 emissions. MyFootprint SEB has been created in cooperation with Discusion, Sweden-based digital platform for sustainable consumption, founded in 2016. So let us hear the success story of MyFootprint SEB, Accelerating Change Through Partnership. And today on this stage, I needed to invite Audrius, but sadly, Audrius got new short-term project, which is called COVID-19. And he couldn't join us today, but we wish him to get well soon. And I will try to take over the moderation of discussion. This is going to be some kind of my debut, because this is the first time I'm moderating the international panel. But I hope that everything's going to be all right, because I have the best team. And I would like to introduce to you Skirmantė Ušurliakienė and Monika Martinsson joining us live from Sweden. So hello to both of you. Thank you for being with us. Oh, I've got some water. Very nice. So, first of all, once again, I would like to thank you to participating in our conference. And first of all, shortly, I will ask you to introduce yourself. Maybe Monika is joining us live from Sweden. So first of all, your short introduction. Monika, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me, and Skirmantė. I'm really honored to be part of this conference, and I'm sad that I couldn't be there live, but then we didn't do a flight, so that's good for the climate. So I'm one of the co-founders of Discusion, and we started out in 2016 with a mission to enable the shift. So together with front-runner companies, try to make the transformation to a more sustainable world faster. Over to you, Skirmantė.
Yeah, now it is time for Skirmantė.
Yeah, so my name is Skirmantė Ušurliakienė. I'm representing Baltic portfolio and project managers in SEB Bank. And yes, I was also very lucky and very happy to be part of this project where a bank decided to do something not related with financial services or products, but very much related with sustainability. So me and Monika and the teams behind our backs, we have been working on that, and using the opportunity, I highly encourage you to download the application from Google Play and App Store, just to understand what we are talking about when we're using this buzzword. So thank you for having me here.
And I already did it. Yesterday I did that, and I played with the app until late hours. So I love the app, but I didn't like what I see. So it means I saw the invisible, how much of CO2 our four-member family releases to the air. And it is huge numbers. It's 6 tons of CO2, only one family. So try to imagine. So I saw the invisible. So for me, it is clear why it is needed, but why bank did this and why you came up with that kind of idea. Because, okay, it's bank, it's financial services. Absolutely unusual. Why?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It is one of the mostly questioned thing internally by our employees, by our management, by our customers, and by public society and social media. Why do we do that? Why do banks do that? And no, we are not collecting any data. We are not collecting, processing, or using it for any purposes. We are not using the app for advertising our services or products. We are not selling it as a product as such. This is something that we did as a present to society, to private customers, to prospective private customers, because sustainability is at our core, and we don't want to greenwash. We want something tangible that we could present and share, because we feel the need. And there are two reasons for that. First reason, I would say, is the fact that sustainability is in our DNA and core. Our purpose of SEB as an institution on group level is that we exist to positively shape the future for today and for upcoming generations via reasonable advice and capital, meaning that we believe and, we take responsibility that we contribute to the future, that we imagine it, and we imagine future on the concept of sustainability, otherwise maybe there's no future at all. And the second reason was that actually we think that private people, private customers, are the fourth most powerful force which change the concepts of big corps, on top of governments, financial institutions, and physical change of the climate. Meaning that by making reasonable, well-consensual choices, they are actually making the change in big corps' decisions as well. So that was the reason why we did that, and we don't regret that.
And my question is, does sustainability really matter to the people in Baltics? I mean, without any doubt, it's probably a top priority in people who live in Scandinavia, but we still live in Baltics. So what is the situation in here, and how many people are already downloaded and using the app?
Okay, so splitting this in two parts. Before deciding, so what actually we are doing, what kind of application should that be? What should be the purpose? We, of course, did some surveys, and we based this decision on the surveys done by others, for example, by Havas Meaningful Brands survey, which very clearly showed that in Baltic countries, approximately 20% of people, they think that it's a personal responsibility to make a change to save the planet. But as much as 40 to 50% in Estonia, a bit more, a bit less in Lithuania, maybe a bit more, think that it's the responsibility of the governments, of big corporations, and they're actually too small to do anything. So it's actually a big gap between our current situation and actually making a change by each of us. That's why it was a decision to make an educational app, not to blame, not to shame, but just to onboard people to this topic and blink something in their mind so that they really think that, yes, my family generates 6 tons. It's not like nothing. So personal choice and also impacting the choices of the companies. Because the same surveys, what they show is that when our customers in Baltics, when they choose products or services, it is important to them if those products or services are generated on sustainability purposes, and then if the company is taking care of that. So about 70 to 80% of customers, they said, yes, when we can choose between 2 companies, we always prefer the company which is sustainable. So people do care. Maybe they need some information. They need some help in leading them towards the sustainability journey.
Simply saying they need some push. But Monika, sustainability is no doubt one of the most important challenges of the generation. So how can we encourage people to pay more attention to act, to contribute towards, solving the climate issues?
Yeah, this is something that we've been thinking about and investigating for some time. How can we do that? Because there are so many things that we can do as individuals, as Skirmantė says. We are individuals, we are consumers, we are voters, and we can influence the environment around us. And we are also professionals. And what we think and what we say and how we act, that matters. So in order to reach as many people as possible, there need to be a broad range of initiatives, a broad range of communication. And we see that science tells us that we don't need to reach everyone. We don't need to reach 100%, which is good for us in this space because that's very challenging. But if we can reach 25%, then things start to change. Then the minority view becomes taken into account in the majority group. So our goal is to reach this 25% of the population who understands and then can create ripple effects. But even that is quite challenging. So what was so interesting with our collaboration with SEB was that they had exact same approach that we have. So that we have to make it non-shaming, no guilt, just making climate action easy and fun. And in that way, inviting in larger populations to take part in this. And so again, it's quite a lot of science and thinking going into that, making climate action easy and fun, because it has to be easy, it has to be where we are, and that's why banks have such an amazing opportunity here, because we are with banks, we do interact with them. So if we can put it there, it becomes easy for individuals to see it. And then fun, so that you stay on, because it is an emotional and big topic and can scare people away. So making it fun is also important. And then together with SEB, I mean, we've what's so amazing here that it's the reach that SEB has. So they go to market on a continuous basis with different kind of messaging, and now they're putting sustainability to the core of that message. And that is such a bold move, and we're very, very impressed with that. And so then we have the reach, we have the easy and fun approach, and then what we do is that we create possibility to have insights and learnings and create action for people, because that's kind of where it starts. You have to have an insight into the topic. You say 6 ton, all of a sudden you understand something, and then learning a bit more so that you feel comfortable, then we start to act as individuals.
If talking about the project itself, so backstory, how did this come about, and what are key success factors in your opinion for this partnership to start? And in other words, how did you convince the bank go along with you?
Yeah, well, actually SEB had this idea themselves. They actually found us, which was amazing. We came in pretty late into an RFP that was ongoing because of an earlier contact. So I think SEB has working innovation work, because the innovation people kept pointing to each other. But what really key success factor was that they had a clear picture of what they wanted to achieve. So it was really easy for us to tag on to that. Then that picture changed, as it does in many projects, but just having that picture was a really key for us finding each other very fast. And also something that we've seen is such a big success factor is that the team that we then met was a very tightly knitted team with Skirmantė as a project manager and the business lead, but also another person with a product ownership lead, so an IT lead, and then the third person with a marketing lead. So just between the 3 of these people, they covered large areas, many stakeholders within the bank. And they were so fast in taking decisions and moving ahead. So I'd say that was one of the biggest key success factors in this whole project, to have that counterparty who could take decisions and iterate very fast, and also could take in what other resources were required. Then we did have to convince them, because we're quite expensive, and but we managed to meet, providing a lot of value, of course.
And Skirmantė, talking about, you both together working, such a big company, such a big bank working with a small startup. Was everything fine? And talking about the same processes, where is the key success factor in your collaboration?
I may only say that size doesn't matter. It's about the passion and the aspiration. Yes, it is always a challenge to incorporate startups in the bank's world, because obviously the speed of making decisions is different, because we live in a highly regulated, very risk-aware environment. So each decision needs to be aligned with many people on different layers, legal, compliance, risk, business, whatsoever. So it takes time. And I'm really glad to hear that Monika says it was fast, because they need to be patient at some point. We needed maybe to bend our heads sometimes and be quicker than we would like in terms of the very low risk appetite. So it was like, this was one of the challenges, the speed. We did that in 10 months, and it's revolutionary and very fast in the bank, from the idea to the launch. But still, for me, it was too slow. I wanted it faster. So we did some things to make it faster, but it was, I believe, still a bit slow. The other challenge was not that much with the startup, but with cultural differences. It may sound fun, because we define ourselves as Western Europeans, I think already no longer Eastern Europeans. We think that we are very similar, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and almost as Sweden as well. But actually, it's not the case. And we felt that after a month or two of cooperation, that we are different. We communicate in a different way. We control each other in a different way. We let each other go also a bit differently. And there was some kind of a sour feeling at some point, and we understood that we need to align that. So we did a session of 2 hours where our communication people were presenting the cultural differences. It was not about the project at all. It was about understanding how Latvians perceive Lithuanians, and they said, do it, guys, do it or die. And how Estonians feel aside when we are whatever, making this control function. And how sometimes jokes or comments may become rude when we approach our Swedish partners. And vice versa. So at this point, we feel like we align so well that we can, it's not a partnership anymore, it's a friendship. So that's how this alignment went. But otherwise, as I said, regarding success factors. So first of all, it was a common aspiration. Each single person in this project, in the Easter team and in our team, we love sustainability. We believe in that topic. It motivates me a lot, because I'm an IT project manager. I usually do things with ERP systems or something like that. And this is a project which is related to the topic which I overall love so much. So it was a motivating thing to do it, by all means. Also, we had so-called symbiosis, which is called mutualism, when both organisms are gaining from each other, and gaining not in terms of money, but in terms of market approach, in terms of database technology, scientific information, sustainability knowledge, whatsoever. So we were and still are constantly, gaining from each other. Also, it was, thanks to Swedish partners, very efficient from project management communication, because they use interesting tools like ClickUp, like Slack, like Phrase, which enables us to translate the content, to communicate, to share documentation in a very fun, comfortable, easy way. So they apply those tools. It really simplified things, so we learned a lot. So this was the success factor, and the last thing was luck. We were just lucky to find each other. It was like a match. We matched, and it worked perfectly well. Luck sometimes is up to 30% of the final success. So this time we were lucky enough to find Monika and her team.
It's like winning a lottery, I think, right?
At some point.
And so I came up with the idea that good project management need perfect cross-cultural management, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
I believe.
But if we want to be closer to the people of Sweden, we need to stop flying. Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So lessons learned, because we have still 5 minutes to go. So lessons learned. This is the question to both of you. Let's start from Monika. What would you do differently next time, and maybe why?
I think we would put more people into this cultural meeting that SEB had, because that was revolutionary for us. The whole team being remote throughout the whole project period was very challenging. And the fact that they opened up for this forum where we talked about culture, it was just I mean, we were laughing so much during those 2 hours, and I would just have shoved more people in there because it was really, really a moment for us to connect on a more purposeful and trustful level, as Skirmantė says. So that was my big learning, actually.
Skirmantė?
Yeah, this cultural alignment a bit earlier, not to make assumptions, you know, just to understand that it's going to be tough, it's online, it's different countries, different cultures, different experience and different approach towards sustainability. So that was one thing, but otherwise it's hard for me to think what I would do differently. To finalize, you know, it was great that we somehow managed to add those two dimensions of both being caring for each other and daring to share feedback, to say what's not very well, what's not very comfortable. So we are striving for excellence. We are not trying to be in a comfort zone, just to deliver what's really needed. We aimed for perfection, and we still aim for that. And when we have those tough situations, when we have to renegotiate the scope, you know, when we need to cut or increase the budget, we have those questions, even though we feel like friends. We managed to do it in mutual respect and understanding how it goes, and still wishing to do the maximum, the best product that's possible at this point.
And
it's a win-win.
Yeah, go ahead, Monica.
Yeah, it's a really win-win. Just to emphasize that more, what Skirmantė says, it's really, we both feel that this is important and that we're moving towards the same kind of goal to excellence and to push awareness and push learning. So I think that's really a guiding star. But we did that, right, Skirmantė? So that's not something we'll do better with.
Okay, at the end of our discussion, I have last but not least question. Because I'm the guy who works for the TV, and I always see when my colleagues is complaining how hard their work is, and those guys, they are, you know, those who forecast the weather, and they say we cannot predict the weather because of climate change. And it's actually not a joke, it's a real deal, because you can predict the weather and the weather will change, you know, rapidly. So my question to both of you, and let's start from Monica. What do you think? What is the future of Planet A? Will we succeed or no? Because Planet B, it doesn't exist. I do not believe that we could live on Mars.
No, I share that. I don't think there's a Planet B. I think Planet A is going to be very, very different. I think that it's still within our hands to shape it. We're past the point where it's going to be the same weather as we're used to. So we're now into adaptation and mitigation. And I think we have, as a globe, as a global community, we have a lot of tough questions to answer the next coming decades. But I hope that we will do that in a smart and mindful way, caring for each other. That's what I hope.
Skirmantė, what do you think?
Just to reflect on what happened when we, at the last moment, lost one of our key speakers, you know, uncertainty is one of the most constant things. In permanence, uncertainty, you cannot predict everything. You cannot know what can happen in your life, in the future of the earth. You cannot lay a pillow for each fall because you don't know. So personally, I think that what helps me to move forward, and I believe should be the key thing for all, is just to having a very clear set of values. If you understand what is important to you, what are the direction, and you take responsibility towards that, in this term, sustainability, then everything should be good. So I'm going to stay here, and I hope the future generations will do as well.
So it means the conclusion is very simple. The only easy day was yesterday. All right, so right on time. Well, I like preciseness about the time, because this is my duty today, just to watch over the time. And but we still got a few minutes for your questions. So if you have your questions, just raise your hand. We will put you on the microphone. Maybe you would like to know something about MyFootprint, and maybe we have some questions online. Not yet, not online.
I see a hand.
Yeah? Please go ahead.
Hey, thanks for the presentation. I've heard that there is one app, Cora, created in Latvia, right? So my question is, did he cooperate with the Latvian developers, and which app would you recommend for me to download?
Okay, Cora was one of the partners which approached us. So that's the only thing I can say. But the fact that we chose Deedster, I believe answers your question. But I encourage to investigate in whatever possibilities you have, not to limit yourselves. If you are interested in the topics, don't associate yourself that much with brands. Even so much being such a strong ambassador for MyFootprint SEB, I would say, in case you just want to check something else, please do it as long as you take actions after that.
But always keep in mind that Monica is a better team for your choice.
I believe, no?
Yeah. One more question is here. Just wait for a couple of seconds.
Hi, thank you very much for the presentation. It's really interesting. And I wanted to ask whether you evaluate the impact of your app somehow. What does it do? Like when people calculate the tonnage of their CO2, do you somehow measure what next?
So thank you for your question. And Monica, you will be able to add. I think for now we are aiming to, as Monica said, to approach as many customers as possible and to engage them for discussion, for this sustainability journey, etc. It's not going to happen. The results will not come in a short term. Whatever corporate sustainability actions you take, you must understand it's a forward-looking decision. You cannot expect any income, any payback, any value immediately. And we are here in the market for a year and a little bit, or maybe not yet if we are talking about the launch in December. So it's a bit too early. Now we have 15,000 users and in Baltic countries, and as much as 40,000 they calculated the footprint, and I personally believe it's already great. So that's maybe the answer. It's a bit too early. Please let me in next year and I will maybe be able to tell more about the impact.
Monica, would you like to add something?
Yeah, but of course we do measure, so there are a lot of measurements going on in the app, but for this use case, as Skirmantė said, what we're interested in is more giving this as a present to the markets so that we can start investigating and start creating awareness. Then if we see a need from the market that there will, it's interesting to measure, it's interesting to see what we as a Baltic community can achieve, then those are add-ons that we can do. But for now, it's just a present to see, and we're not calculating or, keeping track of anything at this point.
And plus, on top of that, we're improving the app. We're adding transactions to the calculation of the footprint. So in 1 week, you'll also be able to calculate the footprint not based on the questionnaire, life cycle questionnaire, but also in actual expenses, what you actually pay for, what you actually spend for. And it will also surprise you because those 6 tons will convert to 20 tons maybe, I don't know. But sometimes you see that you think that you are more sustainable than actually you act. So we are just engaging in improving gamifications, adding new functionalities to get more user base, and then we'll have a better possibility to discuss about that and make a change in Baltics.
Well, in my personal experience, I could say it's never early, it's never too late, because when you do that, because my home is under the automation system, so when I saw how, many tons of CO2 we're producing, I was all evening saying one word to my, to my family: lights, lights, please do not forget to turn off the lights. But they didn't like to listen, so I put it on automation mode. Now it's, if no movement, light switches off after 1 minute. So I heard really nice words from the ground floor. No, not again. Dad, come on, what the hell are you doing? We're saving electricity and we're saving our planet. Thank you so much, Monica. Thank you so much, Skirmantė. That was really a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. And again, we have a bit of issues with the time, and we see, we have the short commercial of MyFootprint.
SEB. Jūsų pasirinkimai globaliems pokyčiams.
So